Welcome back to Radioactive. Season 3, we're almost done. Tonight we've got a fan favorite, Lonny Eagleton, and he is joined tonight by a very good buddy. His name is Desmond Day. And these cats just released a new tune together. Desmond, Lonny, welcome to the show. How we doing?
Pretty amazing. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're doing good. Thanks, man.
Lonnie, Desmond, you guys got a new song coming out called Wild Horses next week or the week after that? When's the 25th?
Next week.
Next week.
I
I'm
guess it
gonna,
depends
Yes.
when you're releasing this, but February 25th, 2025. So
there we go.
whenever you're watching this, listener, that's when it's coming out. And it'll be out for the end of time and after that day.
Yeah, can you guys just tell us a little bit about the song coming out?
Well, I always go up to Lonnie and I say, "Hey, do you want to do a song together?" And he always says yes. He's an amazing guy that way. And so this song, we both have an acquaintance. His name's Rob Patty. He's an old manager friend of mine. And Lonnie knows Rob through actually the first time we met, Lonnie and I, we met at a party. And my manager at the time, Rob Patty, I was trying to brush shoulders with him. And he wanted nothing to do with me. And he goes, "Sorry, kid, I'm looking for someone else," And I had to earn my position as his artist. And that I wish I could send you a picture of Lonnie with long hair eating pizza at this party. And this song, Wild Horses, is a tribute to our friend Rob Patty, who passed away this year. But Wild Horses, right? It's an ode to people we lose, and it's a tribute to those that left an impact on our lives.
Yeah, and I think you really captured that well in the lyrics and the vocal performance. I want to touch on that more, but yeah, this was at Jeff Dawson's studio, was it?
Yeah, so Jeff Dawson
That
is
party?
a Grammy-nominated producer out of Vancouver, BC. He took me under his wing for about 5 years or so, and we released an album called Space Between the Stars. Lonnie was a hired gun that night, I think.
Yeah, I
And
know I
so,
recorded some guitar on it because
yeah,
Jeff's a mutual friend of ours. And yeah, that was I remember that. I think that was the night I met Sean Hook too.
yeah, that was a big night for you.
Yeah.
So Sean, maybe share who Sean Hook is and some of the
Yeah,
artists.
another amazing artist I worked with. So yeah, I think it might be good too to give some context of our professional relationship, Des. So yeah, Des has been an artist in Vancouver for a while now, living on Vancouver Island, and I came up in the Vancouver music scene, and we met there, and we've played some gigs together over the years. Des has hired me to be in his band, and I guess it's been in the last few years where we've done some studio recordings together in the way of a joint collaboration. So we've put out probably close to 10 songs now together since COVID, which was when we started doing this remotely, uh, during COVID times when we were trying to stay busy. And it's just been something that's carried on ever since. And, maybe a couple times a year, we'll release a song together that we've worked on that Des has written and compose the lyrics and music too. And then I'll add some instrumentation. I'll do some drum programming, record electric guitars, bass guitar. We'll collaborate on keyboards and all the extra instrumentation. But yeah, it's very much a joint effort, and it's been a great thing that we've been doing together. And anyways, yeah, we've been doing it about 5 years. This new song is Wild Horses. And from my point of view, yeah, it's, Rob passed away. You wrote this nice song. You said, "Hey, do you want to collaborate on this with me and record it?" We've done that. And sort of around the same time that Rob passed away, I actually had another friend who passed away at the same time, which was very sad. And just to get a little personal with the recording element here, my friend was like he was really into fossils and paleontology, and he would go out and find fossils around Vancouver. Apparently, you can do that. I would have thought that all the fossils were still already found at this point in time, but they're not. And after he passed away, his sister was kind of dividing up his possessions and gave me this fossil that he had literally found like in a creek or something. And it just kind of lives with me in my studio here. And, while we were recording the instruments for Wild Horses, I would always look at this and use inspiration for it to remember him and just, really uh, get in the mindset of loss while we're putting this recording together. And I think it came out really well and really portrays that emotion in the music.
May I ask one question? Because that was really beautifully said, Lonnie. Perhaps the topic of today's discussion is people first, music always. And that some people
Yeah.
make a lasting impact on us, So people first, music always.
That's nice. I like that.
I want to throw a curveball. I do.
Already? Okay.
No, I'm digging this, man. I really am because I was scrolling through my phone at work today, and I think everybody knows who Lilith Czar is, right? She wrote a very poetic, very beautiful caption to a post that she made where she collaborated with Lee Jennings of the Funeral Portrait, right? There's this theme tonight of grief. And in the post, there was a theme of grief because I think the song Hearse for Two, which Lilith and Lee did a collaboration on, talks about grief from Lee's perspective, if I recall correctly, right? And it
Yeah.
sounds like Wild Horses also speaks of grief. I say all of this to say I am also grieving. I am also mourning. Now, it was not from a death, it was from a breakup. I was getting ready to look for an engagement ring in March. I was going to propose to this woman in December. And unfortunately, things did not pan out the way that I hoped they would. And unfortunately, we parted ways. Um,
I'm so sorry. That's
well,
awful.
it's terrible. And I think the beautiful thing is we both care about each other a lot. We still respect each other as human beings, right? Now, with all of this in mind, gentlemen, what are some tips that you have for our viewers aside from, music, obviously? What are some tips and tricks to take your mind off of grieving and mourning? What are some good distractors, right?
Go, Lonnie.
No, um, yeah, I think that's very different for everybody. But whatever it is, you got to find what those things are and find as many of them as you can and do every one of them every single day.
Hmm.
For me, like going to the gym is something that helps me. Or, yeah, yeah, you can probably tell. Just kidding. Journaling my thoughts, playing music, whether it's recording with Dez, playing music with my brother, going out on tour with Black Veil Brides, any of that stuff is always very therapeutic for me. I think the more things you can find that help you through a tough time, just really zone in on those, go full all in on those, and do each one of them every single day. But that's going to be different for each person. Um, yeah. Other than that, finding somebody you can speak to, who you trust, who you can have detailed conversations with, learn who your true friends are. Perhaps find comfort in the lyrics of songs that you enjoy. And you may find that when you're going through a tough time, you can really connect with lyrics on a such deeper way than you ever have in the past. Like it might take going through a death or going through a breakup or something to truly understand the depth of a song that maybe you've heard a million times, but you hear it with a full new perspective and fully understand what the lyricist was intending when they wrote it. It might take going through something really tough to really understand that. So
Yeah,
yeah, hopefully that could help somebody.
I feel like to keep it on topic with the song as well, a friend of mine, Earl Pereira from the band Wide Mouth Mason, we both had a mutual friend, Rob, who passed away. And Wild Horses was Rob's favorite song by the Rolling Stones. And I had a song in mind, and I called up Earl, and we just discussed Rob. And the next thing you know, we're writing a song together. And uh, we really stuck to that theme about how some people in our lives are like blacksmiths getting the horse ready for the race, and hammering iron and getting those horseshoes nice and hot. There's at a certain point where we're set free, And uh, the first lyric of the song is "Put me through the fire." And when you were talking about going through a hard breakup or losing a loved one, these are these are defining moments. And the one thing about fire is that it changes you, right? And so when you're going through the fire as you are right now, uh, I guess foresight knowledge is you're going to come out different than you were. So, and you're
Yes.
looks like you're doing a good job so far. So,
Ditto. Touche, gentlemen, both of you. Yes, yes, you both. You have found a way to, and again, I'm referencing what Lilith wrote, but it that speaks for itself here, and it's been presented into this interview too. You're taking something so gut wrenching, so horrible, so full of melancholy, and you're turning it, you're transforming it from a cocoon into a butterfly, something beautiful, something that speaks not just to you, not just to Lonny, not just to Victoria or myself, but to everybody. And I think that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I see what you mean, Ian. And Des, I think you said it really well too when you said it's moments like that that define who you are,
Yep.
right? The way you handle a tough time like that really defines who you are as a person. So I think that's important. And there's always usually some kind of silver lining you can draw from something, even if it's a terrible situation. It may be that you can find that you now know how to deal with something so tough. So you're equipped to handle so many other things in life that maybe you wouldn't have been able to handle so gracefully before. Or, even just learning about yourself, learning things that you didn't know before. There's always some kind of silver lining you can draw from it. So I think that's also something to take away from a loss or a breakup or whatever it may be.
and I'll reciprocate that by saying how important people are. Yes, we do music; it gets us through, but it's the people, right? And it's the people listening, and how beautiful it is, a poem even that connects with people. It maybe it is about people, and like you said, Lonnie, it's defining and uh, really shapes who you are. Yeah. So do something artistic.
There we go.
Use your imagination. Your imagination shapes the world around you, as they say. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting we're talking about all this because I feel like all of this is really reflected in the song too. Um, like the lyric like until I see you again is repeated a lot. And just the overall like grim tone of this interview, which
Yeah.
in a nice way is something that's very much reflected in the way the song came out, whether it's the lyrics or just the guitar solo or the drum beat, all of that. I think we did a good job with this one.
Quick little note to you, Lonnie. Improvisation is also a joy of life, and that guitar solo in this song, play the clip. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like I have full trust in Lonnie. Like he is, they call him Eagleton for a reason. Like he soars, right? And I had zero idea what to do for the solo, and we just blotted out an amount of time,
hmm
and that confidence that he was just going to come in, just hit the notes and
Yeah, I
soar.
really went for it. Um, yeah, the solo's pretty sweet. And actually, like, I don't want to get all like hippie and kumbaya, but I remember like we did a few takes and I wasn't really like hitting the solo the way I wanted to. And then I grabbed the fossil here that I was talking about. And I just like had a moment with it, right? And I was like thinking of my friend Quinn, right, who passed. And it kind of steered us in the right direction from there. So never underestimate the power of that stuff.
Well, in Harry Potter, they call it a port key. You touch the boot and you teleport somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe there are objects. Oh, we could totally go into this. Totally. This is my theme. I love this conversation. What if objects can hold a story, you know? And
Oh yeah, totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
so this guitar built from Jimi Hendrix's family home out of Seattle, the floorboards, salvaged floorboards of Jimi Hendrix's home out of Seattle. Lonny and I released a song, a tribute to Hendrix. And the idea is imagine a young Jimi Hendrix laying on the floorboards of his family home, looking up at the ceiling, going, one day I'm going to get out of this place, you know? And he grabs his guitar, puts it in the guitar case, walks out the doors, and you see him walking off into the sunset with a silhouette, you know? And that's Hendrix, you know? But if the story continued, the camera focuses back on those floorboards, almost like rumbling, like Jumanji, you know? And
Yeah.
what if years later those floorboards could talk, you know, or were made into an acoustic guitar? What story would you tell, you know?
Yeah, but you say it's a story, but this is actually a true story. If this didn't come across, so there was little Jimi Hendrix literally grew up in a house, which obviously is true, but but that house was taken apart, and somebody made guitars with the wood of that house. And Des knows the guy who did it. Des was able to use one of those guitars to write a song about Jimi Hendrix and record the guitar part, and we made a full song around that. It's called Purple Sun. It's a tribute to Hendrix. So that's another one we've put out. Hope you like that one. Maybe check it out too.
I remember that. Yeah. This was like
Oh,
a year or two ago we talked about Purple Sun.
did we talk about
Hmm.
this?
Yeah,
Have
we
we
talked
done an
about it
interview
very
together
briefly
before?
in one of our interviews. Yeah,
I think
yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah.
Like with Des?
No,
No,
we
not
talked
me.
about Jimi
Oh,
Hendrix.
I just brought
Jimi
it up
Hendrix
maybe
came
because
up.
I was excited
Yeah.
about it at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a real thing. I wanted to make sure people knew that was real because I feel like it sounded too good to be true, but it's true.
Hmm. Yeah, I like this. Objects that hold significance, and s- the world could use a little more magic, you know? The world could use a little more um, hope, and maybe in a real way, a real tangible way, you know? That if your story could live on, you know, there's some object that you're leaving behind. And that's the sad part about music is it seldom are there artifacts to music, you know? Seldom are there actual things you can hold on to that aren't exploited and put in a plexiglass case in a museum, you know? Uh,
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
so
Hard Rock
something
Cafe.
yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit with the, writing process with like the lyrics and stuff, but maybe we can just go a bit dive deeper into what the writing process was like with the lyrics and for you, Lonnie, being called up to play on this track. Like what's it like for you to take someone's song and do guitar and bass and stuff on it?
Yeah, I'd love to
Uh,
touch on that. Do you want to start, Des?
yeah, I'll start off with the lyrics. To me, there is no formula for lyrics. Um, lightning in a bottle every time. That's what you're aiming for. But how awesome is it to have a song that people listen to, right? So anyone listening right now, uh, the lyrics are made to at least hold someone's attention for 3 minutes. And it's the highest honor in the world for someone to spend 3 minutes to listen to something that you created that's in tribute to somebody. I was walking through a store and someone walked up to me and said, "Hey, I just heard that new song, Wild Horses. Someone sent it to me in a private link." I said, "Wow, what do you think?" He goes, "That's okay, you know." And I said, he goes, "What's your plan this year?" And I said, "My plan this year is to honor the person that song's about and make him proud, you know." And we joked, it's like, how often does that happen where someone says that as a response to a new song? It's like, what's your goal? Well, joy, peace, and love, you know, honor the person that this is about, make them proud, have the song touch as many lives as possible. And so the lyrics are definitely that, until I see you again, and this idea of running free and setting off. The family called me and said, "Can you pray for our father? He's passing away." And I did the exact opposite. I didn't pray. I picked up my guitar and that was the MacGuffin. That was that little stone that Lonny has. That my guitar in that moment was that. Those are the moments. So the lyrics really just came out of nowhere, and it was just in the moment. And my friend from Wide Mouth Mason calling at that time, and it just all kind of came together at the right time in the right place. And so Lonny, like anything in life, the winged victories. You spend all this time chiseling out one side of the statue. Maybe you
Yeah.
could take it from here. Maybe
Sure. Well, yeah, well said. I think you did great. I think you really honored that family, and uh, you did a great job. So yeah, Des brought the song to me, which at the time was acoustic guitar and vocals, and I think you had actually programmed like a drum loop under it just to get a feel. And so, anyways, usually when I'm adding instrumentation to a song, it's all about the message of the lyrics, and I use that as inspiration for how I want it to feel. It's like if I'm doing a drum beat, I want the beat to feel the way that the lyrics make me feel, which is, that could be different for every person. Same with guitar parts. If I'm thinking about loss or I'm thinking about some exciting travel destination or whatever the song's about, if it's about love or something, I'm like, what does that feeling sound like? What does grief sound like? I
I
guess
have a
it even,
question. I have a question for you, Lonny. Can
sure.
can you expand more on this winged victory statue? Because
Yeah,
I mentioned it, and it was something that you experienced.
I will. Yeah, let me get to that in 1 second. That's actually really cool. So, anyways, yeah, then Des brought that in. We added other instruments, and it became what it is. Now, when Des and I are working together, we have this this analogy that we always refer to. It's called the winged victory because we're both perfectionists, where we can spend, an hour just picking the right snare sample or the right guitar tone, things that nobody would ever even notice, and we're essentially just wasting our time because we're going way too into detail on one thing that makes no difference. And we call it the winged victory approach because there's one of the most famous statues in the world, which is housed at the Louvre in Paris. It's called the winged victory. You can look it up. It's meant to be looked at from an angle. It's huge. It's got so much detail. From one side, there's all this detail in the wing. From the other wing, which was intended to be placed against a wall, so you would never see it, the wing is like half-assed. It's just like barely, it doesn't have the same detail, but just enough detail that if you happen to catch a glance from the back of it, you wouldn't question it. And this is one of the most famous sculptures ever. And even the artist who sculpted this knew to not waste his time like sculpting the back of it to perfection because nobody would ever see it. So we try and take this approach with what we're doing. Like, hey, if it's not going to matter in the grand scheme of the song, if it's not going to help bring across the message of the lyrics, we don't need to waste our time on it. And me being a perfectionist with everything I do, this approach has really helped me in things outside of this, like, in anything I'm doing, whether it's styling my hair in the morning or, or producing a song, right? We call it the winged victory approach. So that's what that is.
Yeah, that beautifully answers the question of how lyrics and instrumentation come together to make a song, and the detail ought to, I believe, at least for what we do, ought to be in the heart, right? In the message, and
Yeah.
melody and rhythm can do that too. But um, what a way to send off a prayer, I almost felt guilty. I that that I didn't sit down and hold an object and pray. It was hey, I wonder how happy Rob would be if this song touched the lives of many people, and that was the true north of the song. It's like this song is a beacon, you know? What if the song could touch lives and heal hearts and inspire? Inspire is a good word for that kind of thing. And so coming out of the dark into the light, guys, I think we're coming into the light here. I'd like to invite everybody listening to be part of our mailing list and share any stories. I just had this thought right now that it'd be nice if you would, if there was a poem that you wrote about a loved one, or a song that you wrote about a loved one, or maybe just a story, you know, that would be really interesting to hear from you y'all listening. So on my website too, you can find an email link where you could put in your email and join our mailing list. Also, Lonny, you have
What's the website?
lonnyeagleton.com, desmondday.com, and you can go on the main page there. There's a prompt to join the mailing list. And hey, and then if you leave a story and send a message, I'll respond with sending the song in advance. The song's coming out on February 25th, so I think this will be like a really great organic way to start the conversation, and who knows, maybe there's a greater story out there too. So
Yeah, I love it.
It's just really cool knowing that, you know, we're not alone in this life. No matter what somebody's going through, there's always going to be, whether it be a stranger or a friend or an extended family member, somebody is going to understand how you're feeling when you're feeling it. And I want to kind of take this in a different direction really quick and reference an interview we just did with Evan Potter, where we were talking about the same thing about going through grief and sadness and melancholy. He said something that was essentially like, one day you're going to listen to a song and you're going to understand, oh my God, the person writing this wrote this for me and what I'm going through. And I think that when people listen to Wild Horses, they're going to understand, like, oh my God, I know exactly how Desmond feels. I get it. And they're going to have an epiphany in that moment.
yeah, hopefully. And at the end of the day, I put it this way. Lonny said it. Sometimes a great song is just a great song, you know, and just to have a song that touches people just with that guitar solo, you know, with a melody or a rhythm. It doesn't have to go deep ever, but the spirit of the song is absolutely in it. You know what I mean? And this poem you're mentioning, or different things like this Wind Victory statue, there's a spirit, there's an essence, there's something in it that is undoubtable. And at least I know that my heart's in the song, so it's undoubtable that it's a success. All right, so we have one more fun question.
Yes. Ian, you ask the signature radioactive question because you ask it the best.
The story goes, Lonny and Desmond are hanging out, right? And they're on a little road trip, dude. Their car breaks down, right? And it's in the middle of freaking nowhere. They have one place of refuge until 6 a.m. the next day, right? Dawn, right? Pretty common theme tonight. So there's a haunted house, right? And that's their only place of refuge until dawn. They go inside, they get settled in, right? Lonny and Desmond are just, you know, they pick up their guitars, they're hanging out, trying to make the best of it. All of a sudden, a ghost appears, emerges from the shadows, right? But here's the twist. Here's a funny thing. The ghost is a dead celebrity of your choosing. Could be anybody. Who do you want haunting you and why?
Go, Lonny.
All right. Well, I think I could probably speak for both of us. So our friend Rob Patty, you know, then we can show him the song and he can let us know what he thinks of it.
That's a good answer. There you go.
Wild
Radioactive.
Horses. Check it out.
That's a great answer. That's a very sweet answer. I like that a lot.
Well, you know, we're very proud of the song and we hope people can enjoy it.
And honestly, if I'd love to hear from anyone listening, if they'd like to desmondday.com, join the mailing list, and share some story that's from your heart. Love to get in touch. And the song's coming out February 25th, and I'll send the song straight to you. So VIP access because of this interview. So thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you guys so
Thanks,
much for
guys.
joining us. This was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. This was a blast. This was awesome.